The Elder Care Protection Bill just passed. Here's what every American senior needs to know right now. Stop whatever you are doing at this moment, because what I am about to share with you could bring hundreds, perhaps even thousands of dollars back into your hands this year. A significant piece of legislation has just cleared the United States Senate. And if you are above the age of 60, or if you have a parent, grandparent, or beloved family member who is, this impacts you directly. We are talking about your retirement income, your medication expenses, your Social Security payment, the quality of nursing homes, and the protection of your hard-earned savings from fraud. Here is the part that most people are not telling you. Not every benefit inside this bill kicks in automatically. Some of them only activate if you take action. Some come with deadlines, and some require you to update your details with the appropriate agency before the window shuts. Miss the steps, and you miss the money. It truly is that straightforward. So today, USA Senior Guide is breaking down every single major change inside the Elder Care Protection Bill in plain, simple English. No complicated legal terms, no political bias, no confusion, just the facts you need so that you and your family know exactly what you are now entitled to, what has changed, and what to do next to secure your future. Stay with me until the end because the most critical action steps are coming up later in this video, and you absolutely do not want to miss them. Why this bill exists. The background you need to understand. For decades, seniors across America have been quietly struggling against a system that simply was not designed with them in mind. Prescription drug prices that made absolutely no sense, nursing homes operating with nearly zero accountability, cost of living adjustments that barely kept up with the real expenses retirees face every single month, and a growing wave of elder financial fraud robbing hardworking Americans of the savings they spent a lifetime building. These were not minor frustrations. These were full-scale crises unfolding quietly inside millions of households across the country. Yet for years, lawmakers gave these issues only brief attention. The Elder Care Protection Bill is one of the most thorough pieces of senior-focused legislation passed in a generation. It touches nearly every area of life that matters most after the age of 60. Healthcare, housing, finances, mental health, caregiver support, and personal safety. And the reason we need to break it down in detail is because the news cycle moves quickly. Headlines appear and disappear, but the practical, real-world details, the parts that actually affect your wallet and your well-being, those rarely receive the attention they deserve. That changes today. 1. Prescription drug pricing reform. Real savings at the pharmacy. Let us begin with prescription drugs because this is one of the biggest victories inside the bill, and it has been a long time coming. For years, Medicare was legally restricted from negotiating drug prices directly with pharmaceutical companies. Think about how unreasonable that is. The single largest purchaser of prescription medication in the entire country was not permitted to use its size and purchasing power to bring down prices. Private insurance companies could negotiate. The Department of Veterans Affairs could negotiate. But Medicare, which covers more than 65 million Americans, could not. The result? Seniors in the United States were paying some of the highest prescription drug prices anywhere in the world for the exact same medicines that people in Canada, Germany, and Japan were receiving for a fraction of the price. The Elder Care Protection Bill expands and speeds up that reform process. Under the updated rules, Medicare can now negotiate prices on a much broader range of medications, and those negotiated prices will take effect more quickly than previously scheduled. What does that mean in everyday life? If you are currently spending $200, $300, or even $500 a month on medication for diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure, or arthritis, there is a strong likelihood those costs are about to decrease, not in some vague distant future, on a rolling schedule that begins implementation now. The bill also places a cap on annual out-of-pocket drug costs for Medicare beneficiaries. That means there is now a firm ceiling on what you will ever pay in a single year for your prescriptions. No matter how many medications you take or how costly they are, for millions of seniors who have been forced to choose between filling a prescription and putting food on the table, this is not a minor adjustment. This is life-changing. 2. Social Security changes, a more accurate COLA, and stronger funding. Now, let us discuss Social Security because this is the issue that stirs people up, and understandably so. Social Security has been the financial foundation of retirement in America since 1935. It was built as a commitment. You work, you contribute, and when your working years conclude, the system supports you. But over time, that commitment began to feel uncertain. The annual cost of living adjustment, known as COLA, is supposed to shield your benefits from inflation. Every year, the Social Security Administration reviews inflation data and adjusts your monthly payment accordingly. But here is the problem seniors have been raising for years. The inflation formula being used does not reflect how seniors actually spend their money. The standard formula tracks the spending habits of urban wage earners and office workers. It accounts for things like gasoline, electronics, and work-related costs. But seniors spend differently. They spend considerably more on healthcare, prescription drugs, and in-home support. And those categories rise in price faster than almost anything else in the economy. The Elder Care Protection Bill addresses this directly by promoting the adoption of an inflation index specifically designed to track senior spending patterns. What that means is that your annual Social Security adjustment will finally begin reflecting what your life actually costs. Over time, this could mean hundreds of additional dollars in your pocket every single year. On a fixed income, that accumulates quickly. The bill also confronts the long-standing concern about Social Security's long-term funding. For years, experts cautioned that the trust fund could face depletion in the mid-2030s, which would have triggered automatic benefit reductions. Nobody wanted that outcome. The bill strengthens the funding structure primarily by adjusting the payroll tax cap so higher earners contribute more into the system. This stabilizes Social Security not just for today's retirees, but for your children and grandchildren as well. 3. Nursing home reform, stronger staffing, and real accountability. Let us move to nursing home reform because this portion of the bill does not receive enough attention, and it absolutely should. If you or someone you love is currently residing in a nursing home, or if you are even planning ahead for that possibility, what takes place inside those facilities matters enormously. The difficult truth is that nursing home abuse and neglect in America has been a persistent issue. Reports from the Department of Health and Human Services have shown for years that a serious percentage of facilities have been cited for major violations. Inadequate staffing, poor sanitation, medication errors, and in the worst situations, physical and emotional mistreatment of vulnerable residents. Under the Elder Care Protection Bill, nursing homes that receive Medicare and Medicaid funding, which includes the vast majority of them, are now subject to considerably stricter staffing requirements. The new rules establish minimum staffing ratios, meaning there must be a certain number of trained caregivers present for every resident in the building. This may sound technical, but in real life, it means your mother, father, or spouse will actually have a real person available to assist them when they need it. Understaffing has been the root cause of countless tragedies inside care facilities, and this bill takes direct aim at that problem. The penalties for safety violations are also increasing significantly. In the past, fines were so minimal that some facilities treated them as a routine operating expense. That is finished. Fines are now considerably higher, and repeat offenders face the possibility of losing their Medicare and Medicaid funding entirely, which for most facilities is essentially a fatal consequence for their business. This creates a genuine financial motivation to follow the rules and treat residents with dignity. There are also new transparency requirements. Nursing homes must now make their inspection reports, staffing information, and violation history readily available to the public. So when you research a facility for yourself or a family member, you will have real facts, not just the polished brochure handed to you at the front entrance. 4. Elder financial fraud protection. Defending your life savings. Now let us spend time on something that does not receive nearly the attention it deserves. Elder financial fraud. This is a silent epidemic in America. Every single year, older Americans lose tens of billions of dollars to scammers, con artists, and financial predators. The schemes arrive in every form you can imagine. Phone calls from fake IRS agents, Medicare fraud, investment scams, romance scams targeting lonely widows and widowers, contractors who collect a deposit and vanish, even family members or caregivers who quietly drain the accounts of someone who trusted them completely. The FBI has consistently ranked elder financial exploitation as one of the fastest growing crimes in the country, and victims often feel too embarrassed or disoriented to report what happened to them. The Elder Care Protection Bill creates a dedicated stream of funding to fight back against this. That means more federal investigators trained to identify and pursue these cases, more resources for victim recovery and assistance, and stronger coordination between federal agencies, state law enforcement, and financial institutions. Banks and credit unions are now encouraged, and in many situations required to flag suspicious activity in accounts held by seniors, and to follow specific procedures for reporting potential exploitation. This is significant because banks are frequently the very first institution to notice the warning signs. A sudden large withdrawal, multiple wire transfers to an unfamiliar account, a new name unexpectedly added to a long-standing account. These are red flags, and now financial institutions have both the resources and the responsibility to act on them. The bill also funds public awareness efforts aimed directly at seniors because the truth is, the strongest shield against fraud is knowledge. When you understand the tactics being used, you are far less likely to fall for them. 5. Housing and aging in place. Staying in the home you love. Let us discuss housing because for most seniors, the home they live in is their single greatest asset and the center of their entire world. The ability to age in place, to grow older surrounded by your memories, your neighbors, and your community is something most people deeply desire. But the reality is that most homes were not constructed for the later stages of life. Stairs become hazardous, bathrooms without grab bars become sites of accidents, doorways too narrow for a walker or wheelchair turn into obstacles to independence, and the modifications required to safely remain home can cost thousands of dollars that many retirees simply do not have. The Elder Care Protection Bill significantly increases funding for home modification assistance. Through grants and low-interest loan programs, eligible seniors can now access financial support to install ramps, widen doorways, add walk-in showers, improve lighting, and make kitchens more accessible. These are not luxury renovations. They are essential safety improvements that allow people to remain independent and avoid being placed into a care facility before they are truly ready. The bill also invests in expanding affordable senior housing more broadly. Communities designed with accessibility, healthcare access, and social connection in mind. Because here is something most people are unaware of. Chronic loneliness in older adults is as damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is what research has demonstrated. Investing in housing that keeps seniors connected safeguards both physical and emotional well-being. 6. Mental health access, removing the barriers. The Elder Care Protection Bill also includes meaningful provisions to expand access to mental health services for Medicare beneficiaries. Currently, accessing mental health care through Medicare is often complicated, expensive, and restricted. Many therapists do not accept Medicare patients because reimbursement rates are too low, and the stigma surrounding mental health remains especially strong among older generations who grew up during a time when these matters simply were not discussed. The bill works to dismantle these barriers by improving reimbursement rates for mental health providers serving Medicare patients and by expanding telehealth options so seniors in rural communities or those with mobility limitations can receive counseling from home. Grief, loss, chronic pain, the fear of becoming dependent on others. These are genuine emotional burdens that millions of older Americans carry every day. Reaching out for help is not weakness. It is wisdom, and this bill helps challenge the outdated belief that says otherwise. 7. Caregiver support. Finally, recognizing the families behind the scenes. Now let us talk about caregivers because this is a subject that gets overlooked in nearly every policy conversation. even though it touches the lives of tens of millions of families. Right now, there are an estimated 53 million unpaid family caregivers in the United States. Sons, daughters, spouses, siblings, and friends who have taken on the enormous responsibility of looking after an aging loved one, often while working full-time and managing their own families and health challenges. The toll is tremendous. Caregiver burnout is real. Depression among caregivers is extremely prevalent, and historically, these individuals have received almost no financial support, no formal preparation, and very little recognition. The Elder Care Protection Bill changes that. New tax credits are now available for family caregivers, allowing them to recover a portion of the money they spend on their loved one's care. There is funding for caregiver training programs, so family members managing complex medical situations at home can do so safely and confidently. And there are expanded respite care options allowing caregivers to take temporary breaks without feeling as though they are abandoning their responsibilities. A rested and supported caregiver is a more effective caregiver, and that translates to a better quality of life for the senior they care for. This is a benefit in every direction. 8. Medicare expansion. Dental, vision, and hearing. Now, let us address a portion of the bill that has been generating significant headlines: the broader effort to expand Medicare to include dental, vision, and hearing services. Currently, original Medicare does not cover routine dental care, routine eye examinations, or hearing aids. This is a significant gap because these are not optional services. Untreated gum disease has been connected to heart disease, diabetes complications, and cognitive decline. Vision problems raise the risk of falls and accidents, and untreated hearing loss is one of the strongest adjustable risk factors for dementia. The Elder Care Protection Bill makes meaningful progress here. While full Medicare expansion remains an ongoing political discussion, this bill includes new subsidies to help beneficiaries afford hearing aids, which can cost thousands of dollars. It includes trial programs expanding dental care access through federally qualified health centers, and it broadens vision care through community health programs. It is not everything advocates have called for, but it represents meaningful advancement in the right direction. What you need to do right now. Action steps. Now, this is the most critical portion of the entire video, so pay close attention. Not everything in this bill is automatic. Some benefits require an application. Some require you to update your information with Medicare or Social Security. Some have enrollment periods you do not want to miss. Begin with your local Social Security office or visit the official Social Security Administration website. If your state has a state health insurance assistance program, and every state does, schedule an appointment with a Medicare counselor. This service is completely free, unbiased, and specifically designed to help people in your situation understand changes exactly like these. And here is an essential warning. Be extremely cautious about anyone who calls, texts, emails, or messages you offering to help you apply for new benefits under this bill in exchange for money or personal information. Scammers act fast. Within days of any major legislation passing, fraudsters begin crafting pitches around it to deceive seniors into surrendering their Medicare numbers, Social Security numbers, or banking details. Remember, legitimate government services are always free. The Social Security Administration will never contact you demanding immediate action. Medicare will never ask for your credit card information over the phone. If anything feels suspicious, hang up, close the browser, and contact the official agency directly yourself. Final thoughts. Why this moment matters. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the things that have kept you awake at night. Standing at the pharmacy counter, deciding which prescription to fill this month because you could not afford them all. Watching a parent suffer in a facility too understaffed to provide proper care. Receiving a call from your bank about a transaction you never authorized. Sitting alone on a quiet afternoon wondering if anyone truly understood how demanding this chapter of life can be. This bill is not a perfect solution. No single piece of legislation ever is, but it is a real and substantial effort to improve life for older Americans in tangible, measurable ways. And more than anything, it is a message that the challenges facing seniors are finally being acknowledged and taken seriously after years of feeling overlooked. There are still obstacles ahead. Implementation requires time. Budget disagreements occur every year. The forces that profit from the old system, pharmaceutical corporations, irresponsible nursing home chains, financial predators, will not step aside easily. They will lobby. They will pursue legal challenges. They will attempt to chip away at this progress, which is precisely why it matters that you stay informed, stay engaged, and stay connected. Because the strongest protection for any law is an informed public that understands what is at stake and refuses to allow it to be taken away. Knowledge is power.